I'm hearing this a lot more, the Internet of Bodies. So I looked this up and came across this, and now it's everywhere in my search results on my news feed. But just check out a little bit of this.
The next phase of the digital revolution, Industry 5.0, is already here, people working alongside robots and smart machines. Researchers at the Australian National University are calling this transition the Internet of Bodies, saying it's game-changing and moving at a breakneck speed. Dr. Catherine Ball, Associate Professor from the School of Engineering at the Australian National University, believes that mobile phones, for example, won't be part of our lives in 10 years' time as the tech industry accelerates. She joins us now with more. Dr. Ball, welcome. Now, mobiles are, of course, a must-have right now. I'm not sure I could live without mine. It is hard to imagine life without them. What's going to replace them?
Well, if we think about the speed at which technology is going in terms of miniaturization, if I take you off maybe into a Star Trek-like universe, you remember how they used to have the little comms badges? Well,
yes.
I have a wonderful conversation with the great late Carla Zampatti about how we need drones and mobile phones as little beautiful brooches that look gorgeous as well as actually being form and function. And so the idea is that we'll have miniaturization. Now at ANU, we've already developed a mobile phone that's as thin as a piece of paper. So imagine now that you can literally just strap something on you, or you'll be wearing something that will maybe beam something onto your arm so you can actually...
Yeah, they're going to give you a little bit, but they're not going to tell you what they're really doing. Because if they need to get the internet everywhere where all of the people are, think about it. If people wanted to try to escape the web and like go way out in the wilderness or somewhere, they can do that. But with this Internet of Bodies, they're gonna, we're gonna be part of the internet, and they're not gonna tell you, but they can use certain things that are put in you, back around 2020, without really coming out and saying it. And then you have the whole graphene, the nanobites, through medications. I mean, they can probably even put this stuff in there through spraying with chemtrails and stuff. But that's the only way they're going to be able to have a whole Internet of Bodies, is by getting that technology into every single person. And I really think this is going to be connected to when eventually the mark of the beast does come. It's going to have something to do with the Internet of Bodies. But I do believe that the mark of the beast is going to have to be consensual, because they can't force, from what I understand, they can't force you to take the mark of the beast. But let's listen to a little bit more of this, and then I'll show you something else I found.
See it visualized there. The next stage of the Google Glass is now a Google contact lens, which is powered by the salt in your tears. So there's something poetic about that. But the idea that we'd almost have Terminator technology and that we'd be able to look at things and see things. So the communication...
One other thing, we're told that technology is 60 to 100 years ahead of what they roll out to the public. So just think about that.
Platforms we will still be using, the social media we will still be using. We know that Snapchat had their Snapchat sunglasses, for example. We're seeing a lot of patchy forward moving away from actually having a physical device in our hands. So implantable chips, I actually think aren't going to happen. We're using our facial recognition technology a lot more to access services. So it may be that we don't need...
I also heard that all the NFL stadiums next year are going to be using facial recognition. And I've also heard they're using it a lot more places. They just don't tell you, because I had a friend that went to a place and they immediately knew their name before they even gave it to them. So it's in a lot more places now. I just don't think they're really advertising about it.
Our phones to pay for things, because the till can register our face, or the trains can register our face, or the supermarket registers our face. And of course, this already exists in some other countries across the Asia-Pacific region, though not quite in Australia yet.
And Catherine, this is not just about the technology itself when it comes to communication, it's also about the technology when it comes to batteries. Because if you've got, a mobile phone that is as thin as a piece of paper, you're still going to need to charge that somehow.
Well, this is where you might use your body as the battery. So if we think about, even really nice watches that have that sort of connect.
Yeah, our bodies are batteries. We are electricity. That's what keeps the heart beating and all of that. It's energy.
energy that they use to charge the battery on, and then you have to make sure you move your watch, otherwise the battery dies. Just imagine that there'll be kinetic energy. And don't forget, one of the biggest things about this is we are racing towards quantum now. And there's been some great advances out of Sydney in just the last couple of weeks around the very first ever quantum circuit has been now completed 2 years ahead of schedule. So the technology that you and I are familiar with, that we live and breathe and we have around us in our lives, look how far that's come in the last 10 years, and then shrink that acceleration down into one. And just imagine in 5 or 10 years' time what this is going to look like. So when I say something as clickbaity as there will not be mobile phones as we know it in 10 years' time, that's actually incredibly logical when you think about the speed and acceleration and the miniaturization of technology and how we power that technology.
How does something like the smart contact lens work? Something that you mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation.
Well, again, this is all Wi-Fi connected back to a hub type.
Let me show you something else I found real quick. Okay, check this one out real quick.
Personal autonomy. Let's start. What is the Internet of Bodies, or IOB? Let's start by unraveling the Internet of Bodies. Imagine a world where your watch not only tells you the time, but also how your heart is doing. Now take it a step further. What if devices inside you could communicate directly with the Internet? That's the essence of IOB. It's an heart is doing. Now take it.
This is it right here.
A step further. What if devices inside you could communicate directly with the Internet? That's the essence of.
This is their ultimate goal. This is mixing iron with miry clay. Totally. That's what I think.
IOB. It's an extension of the Internet of Things, or IoT. While IoT connects devices like your phone or smart fridge to the Internet, IOB takes it personally, literally. It's about integrating technology into the human body. From chips monitoring your glucose levels to smart lenses that give you real-time.
They always roll it out to be like for our own good, for our health, as a good thing, when ultimately it's all a bad thing. It's about control. It's always about control. They don't care about helping people.
Information about your surroundings. But why does this matter? IOB is not just a cool gadget trend. It represents a paradigm shift in how we interact with technology. It's about turning your
They always got to throw the bell image in all of these videos.
Body into a living, breathing, walking data center. Its personal computing represents a paradigm shift in how we interact with technology. It's about turning your body into a living, breathing, walking data center. Its personal computing taken to its most intimate level. Think of a pacemaker. It's already an IOB device. It keeps your heart beating the right pace and can relay this data.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI.
Back to your doctor. Now imagine if this data could predict a heart attack days before it happens. That's IOB in action. It's about saving lives, improving health, and possibly making us more than just human.
There you go. Saving lives, improving life, and making us more than humans. Could that have anything to do with when you take a certain mark, you being condemned and damned to hell, where you're no longer redeemable because you're no longer a normal human being? You know what I'm saying?
Your body, the data gold mine. Every second, your body is producing a wealth of data. Heart rate, blood pressure, sleep patterns, these are just the tip of the iceberg. IOB devices can tap into this data stream, providing a continuous health record. Imagine a future where your doctor knows you're getting sick before you do. But it's not just about health. Think about athletes using IOB to fine-tune their performance. A runner with an IOB.
Did you hear the doctor knows you're sick before you are? Reminds me of that movie, I can't remember the name of Tom Cruise, about the pre-crime, but it's on the medical end of things.
IOB-enabled implant that analyzes muscle efficiency and oxygen use could shave seconds off their time. Or consider a musician with an IOB device that optimizes their sleep and diet for peak creative output. However, this goldmine is also a treasure trove for companies and governments. Your health data could be worth millions to pharmaceutical companies. It could help them develop new drugs or understand diseases better.
Yeah, they're already talking about taking pills that have nanoparticulars or whatever those nanobytes are called, where you swallow it and then you're connected to the internet. That's wild.
But here's the catch. Who controls this data? Do you own the information about your heart rate or sleep patterns? There's a quote by mathematician and data science entrepreneur Clive Humby that's often cited. Data is the new oil. In the world of IOB, your body is the oil field. The potential is enormous, both for good and for the challenges it brings. IOB can give you superhuman abilities. When we talk about
There it is.
IOB and superhuman abilities, it sounds like something out of a comic book, doesn't it?
You can be as God, knowing both good and evil. Never heard that before.
But it's not as far-fetched as you might think. IOB has the potential to extend our physical and mental capabilities beyond natural limits. Consider a chip implanted in the brain that enhances memory or even allows for direct internet access. It's like upgrading your brain to have Google built in. This isn't just about being smarter.
I'll definitely pass on that one. Hard pass.
It's about having a whole new way of interacting with information. And it's not just mental abilities. Physical enhancements are on the horizon too. Bionic limbs are already a reality, but future IOB devices could offer much more. Imagine exoskeletons that give you superhuman strength, or implants that enhance your senses, like hearing frequencies beyond the normal range. But here's an interesting thought. With great power comes great responsibility. These enhancements could redefine jobs, sports, and even daily life. If someone with an IOB-enhanced brain competes in a knowledge-based competition, is it fair to those who don't have such enhancements? The dark side of IOB. Let's be honest here. Every technology has its risks, and IOB is no exception.
Yeah, especially when a bunch of psychopaths control all of it.
The most glaring issue? Cybersecurity. When your body is connected to the internet, the risks aren't just about data breaches, they're about personal safety.
When you're totally hooked up to the internet, then they own you. You see what I mean? There's no more freedom of thought, no more freedom of action. You are totally a prisoner. I mean, that totally eliminates freedom or anything. That's their ultimate goal right there.
Imagine if a hacker could access the IOB device controlling your heart rate or insulin levels. It's a scary thought, but it's a real risk that needs to be addressed.
Like that guy Aaron Russo said a long time ago on the Alex Jones show, if you don't go along with the program, they just turn your chip off. You see what I mean? It's here.
As cybersecurity expert Kiran Elazari said, hackers are the immune system of the internet. With IOB, they might become the immune system of our bodies too. Then there's the issue of dependency. What happens when these devices fail? If you rely on an IOB device for critical functions, a malfunction isn't just an inconvenience, it's a life-threatening situation. Moreover, consider the psychological impact. How would knowing that parts of your body are reliant on technology affect your sense of self?
If you're dependent on them, then they own you, period. This is crazy, guys. No thanks. I definitely do not consent.
may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance.